forged that day. It was by no means obvious that Reagan would become president, and there were profound doubts about whether Britain was ready to elect a woman leader. They both stood on the threshold of power and had only mutual support to offer. But they found in each other not only an ideological soulmate, but the only person in whom they could confide as equals in the workplace. Thatcher, too, was a loner. As a humble scholarship girl from a bleak Midland city, she found herself excluded from the elevated social whirl of Oxford University and shut out from the cosy cabal of men who ruled the Conservative Party. As she ascended the party hierarchy, she invariably found herself the only woman in the room. Her gender served both as a barrier to the male camaraderie that lubricated the working of the party and, when she attained the leadership, a useful point of difference. As an outsider, determined to lead her, at first, mostly reluctant colleagues in a more conservative direction, she repeatedly found herself in a minority of one. In Reagan, she found an eloquent inspiration to action and a bulwark against the prospect of compromising her beliefs. Reagan and Thatcher were both glamorous figures who, striding the world stage, appeared to agree on almost everything. As in many successful marriages, the pair were quite opposite in character. Reagan was an eternal optimist, a sunny extrovert whose compulsive storytelling disguised an intensely private interior. In government he offered broad-brush prescriptions before standing back, while others put his ideas into practice. Thatcher, by contrast, was a wholly practical, no-nonsense woman whose aggressive pursuit of argument and hectic, meddling governing style — she even once demanded that her Chancellor Nigel Lawson have a haircut — disguised a brittle lack of confidence. Their affection toward each other was palpable, and all those who worked closely with them testified to their mutual devotion. Their closeness led to unprecedented candour between the President and the Prime Minister. As her stolid press secretary Bernard Ingham was to observe, Mrs. Thatcher did not believe in soppy friendships. She took her alliances seriously and felt that she owed her friends her best advice, however uncomfortable or unwelcome it might be. As an early biographer of Thatcher, and as a long-time political reporter in London, I had watched their friendship in action. My understanding that the relationship was exceptional, and exceptionally effective, culminating in one of the most powerful international alliances of recent times, prompted this account of their parallel lives. What I could not have guessed, however, was that the hard documentary evidence buried in the National Archives would so readily confirm that the notion of a political marriage had, if anything, been vastly underestimated. The hundreds of confidential letters and intimate telephone calls that they exchanged in the 8 years that their terms overlapped, which have only recently been declassified, repeatedly corroborated that their partnership was indeed a true marriage of minds. But that was just the beginning. As in any marriage, while in public they displayed a genial unity of purpose, behind the scenes the two leaders often profoundly disagreed. Reagan, always the gentleman, did not appear to resent Thatcher's importunate and often caustic candour, which she proved incapable of repressing. Reagan's readiness to take Thatcher's advice ensured that her interventions in American policy were constitutionally without precedent. Throughout Reagan's 2 terms, she acted as an unofficial, unappointed, but wholly effective additional cabinet member. She achieved, through her guidance, based upon the vision she shared with the President, an altering of course that no British Prime Minister has managed since Winston Churchill embarked upon his wartime collaboration with Franklin Roosevelt. There was, however, an important difference. Churchill always remained a supplicant, and through the pressing need to provide the urgent defence of Britain, was invariably obliged, against his better judgment, to bow to Roosevelt's demands. In brief, the price of American military aid, when the very independence of Britain was at stake, was Churchill's dismantlement of the British Empire. With Reagan and Thatcher, it was the other way around. It was she who made the demands. In the Falklands War, in balancing the budget, above all in Reagan's offer to Mikhail Gorbachev to give away America's nuclear shield, and it was Reagan who willingly made the concessions. But, as in a real marriage, the initiative was not all one-sided. The President was quite capable of listening to her and ignoring her advice, as in the months before Reykjavik, when he tuned out her prolonged arguments against doing anything rash and did what he felt he needed to do. When he decided to invade Grenada to bring down the perpetrators of a Marxist coup, he behaved like many a husband before him, agreeing with her repeatedly. You can almost hear him say, "Yes, dear, yes, dear." Then deliberately